A man tried to shoot an armadillo, but the bullet ricocheted off the shell and hit his mother-in-law. Everyone in attendance was shell-shocked. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Uncouth podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Pell, and with me is...
Carl Davis III.
Carl the Bones, the Boner Davis. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest with us today. One of my good friends and one of my favorite people on earth, Luis Ricardo Depaz. This sexy son of a bitch has graced us with his testosterone-laden presence. Not only is he a newly minted citizen of the United States, so we still question his loyalty, but also...
Louis is like, you know where my allegiance stands.
Louis is like, come on, like, we all know where it lands.
Where the money is.
I mean, let's be honest, like, with your record with women, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm just leaving it there.
Okay.
So on this
Talk
podcast, right? I know. I could have said your track record with men. That wouldn't be
Cliffhanger.
Right.
Cliffhanger.
End the podcast
Exactly.
right there.
Exactly.
Usually talk about current events, some stuff that's been going on.
Okay.
So, but you know, since we're lucky enough to have you on the podcast right now, United States citizen. We all know there's a lot going on with the border down there. I'm going to put you in a really uncomfortable hot seat for about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Thoughts on immigration, Luis?
It's too easy to get in here. No, I'm kidding.
I'm
joking.
I'm joking.
He's like, it's way too fucking easy. I'll show you how I got it.
I show you how I got
It's
in.
like the door's right
Oh,
there.
yeah.
That's it.
It's interesting because I feel like there's a lot of things that I do agree with, like the amount of people that are trying to get in. It's a little bit too much, but it's also like kind of fucked up the way that the government's trying to take care of it. Like, I don't know if you guys seen, but apparently some of the kids haven't been taken back wrapped in foil. Like, they wrap it up in foil and they just bring them back so people can't recognize them and stuff like
Are they
that.
like trying to Area 51 that shit?
I don't know. I don't know. That's what I've
seen.
seen.
Radioactive rays, we're taking them through. Let's go.
That's what I've seen, and I'm just like, okay, that's just not humanly right.
Was this recently, or was this on? Because there's pictures of the Obama administration and the Trump administration. Do you know which one it was?
Oh no, it's been both. Obama was also doing this, but I feel like he didn't know too much about it. That was the process.
Because that wasn't his concern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I feel like Trump didn't have like any of his campaign was.
I feel like it would have stopped early though in like the immigration process because he was focused on that. Hopefully.
I don't know if he was focused too much into it.
Yeah,
I feel like he was like more open, like, oh yeah, just come.
Just that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But on good news,
Trump
found the money to build the wall.
He did. That's true.
He did.
Dude.
He found the money.
And he's found people willing to donate land too, which is awesome. Some dude donated like 100 square miles or something
of his land.
Right, and he's just like, you when you see the picture of the guy, you know he has to wear blue jeans with like a big ass belt buckle and a flannel shirt and be like, well, I'm donating it to a good cause, boys and girls.
The second he reaches down, he has a shotgun.
Exactly.
You know that's the guy.
He rode up on Old Town Road on a horse. He's like, I got the horses in the back.
He got tobacco in the side.
He's like, you know the Mexicans ain't doing nothing good but bringing weed over the border, weed and crime. You know how they are. And it's like, dude, really?
You got weed right now. You smoking weed?
Yeah,
I know, but still.
And it's not half as good as the stuff from down there. Come on, let's be honest. Like, I hate that everybody's like, it's going to fix the drug problem. I'm like, no. The drug people, like anybody who wants it, is just going to have to work harder to get it across the border. Because you know the stuff we make here, like everything's good made in America, except drugs. Like that should be a t-shirt. It's like made in America and it lists all the stuff and then it says Colombia. And like right under it just says cocaine.
It's like a fine print underneath.
Colombia got some good cocaine.
I mean,
not to mention the fact that our shit's way overpriced for pharmacies and shit.
That's also true.
Here's what I think we do. Okay, and y'all have beignets. I know you've had beignets.
Oh.
Have you had beignets?
Oh, of course.
Okay, so we take it.
If you've been in Louisiana for a week or longer,
or so.
and you haven't had a beignet, you don't deserve to be here.
We take the beignet. Powdered sugar. Hold on. And then just
we lace it with coke.
Yes, lace it with coke. And I am telling you, we will have a line down Veterans Highway in New Orleans from Cafe Du Monde all the way down. Just and we'll have people coming in. They can't afford it. We all know where that industry goes. All right, we all of a sudden have New Orleans in our pocket, all because we have coke-laden beignets.
So Jacob
Thoughts,
Pell, Jacob Pell wants to start a mafia.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
We have the resident expert.
That's
right
what
here.
I'm hearing.
Oh my god.
We do. I mean, you want to talk about somebody who has seen some shit. Let's be honest. The man next to me, and I'm not talking about Carl. Carl has seen many horrible things in his lifetime, including me shirtless. But that's not the worst.
You've seen that before?
Yeah?
Yeah.
I saw him shirtless. Okay, you want to talk about the movie It play across a guy's nipples? That was what
I feel the need to provide context now.
No, let's move on into the next subject.
I feel the need to provide context now.
I don't even know. I didn't know where that punchline was going. I was like, movie It, and then I was like, Carl's nipples, and somehow they just collided together. I don't know. So, but, yeah, man, if you've seen the pictures of them, like, in cages, and part of it, because I remember somebody in my family, without naming names, was like, you know what, that's what they get. They came here illegally. He was like, too bad. Understand that point of view. But then also you look at what they're running from.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not saying we should have everybody stay. I'm not saying we should kick everybody out. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not educated enough on that subject to give you a verdict that's, you know, the solution to everything.
Yeah.
But I can say, I've been to Mexico. That was one of the most eye-opening experiences. We were driving down a road and there's black sludge 4 feet high in a ditch with just everything you can imagine. Okay, a house, one of the houses we passed, this is one of them. There's a dead dog in the doorway with a bullet through its brain. There are shoes, right, hung from like a metal railing, and there are dolls hanging in the doorway, like hung like this, which was pretty creepy. And there's bullet holes all in this burnt out house.
Sounds like the beginning of a horror movie.
Right. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh no. Right? And the guy who came with us, who lives there, who was going to an orphanage, goes, yeah, that's pretty common. And I'm going, well, why don't we do something about it? Like, why can't this be rectified? Again, you've got the people with the viewpoint, that's not our problem. They should go back. They should fix their own country. Get that. When a bunch of dudes show up with AK-47s,
it's a little hard.
It's a little hard
It's a little
to
hard
enact
that.
change.
Little air quotes.
You see, I feel like I definitely agree with you. Like, not everyone should stay. But I feel like the part that they're getting wrong is like separating the kids
From their families.
Yeah. Like, yes, their parents are trying to do something illegally,
Yeah,
but they're trying to give their kids a better future.
I agree.
But the second that I feel like if you're gonna set them back, set the entire family back. You don't need to fucking separate them.
Right.
And be like, all right, we keep the kids. Bye.
Yeah. Can I ask y'all a question real quick? Like, I'm not 100% familiar with it, but like, Luis or like, do y'all understand like the immigration process and like how it works and like how much time it takes? And
The legal or the illegal?
He would know so much better than
Yeah,
me.
I'm
He
saying.
just became one in the past 6 months.
So like, how would you, like, how does the immigration process necessarily like work?
So the process is, before you even come here, you have to get on. People call it a list. Or get in line. It's not a line. It's like, first you have to do an application and be approved to actually be here with a visa.
Okay.
So the process, depending on each country, it's actually a lot more difficult than other countries.
How long does it normally take?
It honestly depends on the country. Because for us, even before I moved here, it was a 2 to 3 year process before we came here. Before we even got approved to come here. I know I recently heard somewhere that India is still trying to process people from 1996.
Oh God.
So they're over 10 years.
That's literally that's more than 10 years.
Yeah.
It's like that's almost 20. That's
over
that's
2
over
decades.
20.
Yeah, that's
over 20.
Which means they're all legal now.
I'm
sorry. That's how my mind works. I'm just like, look, there could be a baby in the womb from '96. It'd be legal now. I'm okay with this.
I don't mean to be on a morally high ground, but I morally cannot laugh at that joke.
You
I just morally cannot laugh at the joke. I didn't laugh, therefore I can judge you for it. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
So after you go through that process, you finally get to come here on a green card. A green card is it technically is green. It used to be green. Now it used to be green and like beige. Now it's actually fully a green card. Mm-hmm. And you get to stay here for, I think it's 4 years on it. And you get to renew it every 4 years. If you forget to renew it, then they can kick you out fully. But to become a citizen, so that you don't have to worry about getting kicked out, you have to stay here. You have to live here for at least 10 years. Mm-hmm. After the 10 years, you go to a process that makes you a citizen or a naturalization. You fill out the paperwork. It takes 18 months the paperwork to be filed and persecuted and everything. You come in they scan your fingerprints to make sure that you're not like part of terrorist or in the database as a terrorist or associated with any groups. And then you come in, and there's the test. There's the interview and there's the test. The test is they give you 100 questions about the history, the ideology, and about the United States, and you have to pretty much memorize all 100, but they only ask you 10 of them. You have 4 wrong chances. You can get 6 out of 10, and you can still pass. Okay. You get any below that, you fail, and you have to start the process all over again.
Okay.
What did you score?
I got 10 out of 10.
I mean, is it really hard stuff? Let's say, is it like really difficult stuff to memorize?
In 1 year, the United States buy Louisiana from the French.
Really?
Oh, it's not that hard. 18.
Yeah, you see, he was like, "Oh, that's
like I was born here,"
and then he stopped and he's like,
"Louisiana
Purchase."
What year was the Constitution written?
1776.
Hey, you're the expert, not me.
Huh?
When was the Constitution written or signed?
Oh, signed? Yeah. 1776, right?
No.
Okay, what is it?
The Constitution was written. It was signed in 1786.
Oh, dang it! I was off. Look, I was born here.
Yeah. Look, Louisiana Purchase happened in 1803. Okay.
You looked at
I totally Googled it. I was like, Louisiana Purchase, Napoleon dates. Hurry up quickly, so I look good. So I get educated.
I haven't studied that since 6th grade though.
Yeah. So to some of the people who live here, it would be like a quick trying to remind yourself, oh yeah, this is it, because you learned it at some point. Mm-hmm. That's why it was easy for me to take it, because I came here when I was 7.
Yeah.
And so I learned it my entire life. Yeah. I grew up as a kid who was born here in the United States. Mm-hmm. Now for my mom, it was a completely different situation. She just turned a citizen a few weeks ago, but she's 49.
Yeah. So
she had to forget everything that she learned about Guatemala's history and try to learn an entire new set of history in a few months.
Okay, so can I ask you a question? Like, also I wanted to get back to that. Like, the reason I asked about like how does the process work, because I think like obviously I hear stuff from like both sides on like people that want people that want to deport everybody and people that I guess
want to accept
everyone. And I understand like how we need to. I think it's fair that we need to fortify our borders. So when people say stuff like, I don't know, like it's racist that people even want to do that is mind-blowingly stupid to me. Mm-hmm. But not to judge anybody's belief. But basically, I just think, do y'all think it would be easier if we were to fortify our borders, like like with the wall and everything else, and like regulate things like air travel and boat travel, because people overlook that when they think about like immigration. And if we were to be able to streamline the process maybe a little bit, I understand that it's hard, obviously, and you obviously don't want terrorists and obviously drug dealers and people bringing that criminals coming in.
I'm going to put asterisk around drug dealers, because you kind of want the drug dealers, and you kind of don't. like, let's be honest.
Jake?
You do want the drug dealers in the United States, because how else are you going to have a good time? Alright, those dudes roll around with gold chains.
I'm trying to be serious here, bro. I'm trying to be serious here, bro. Do y'all think it would be easier?
To a comic, like, you can't expect me to be too serious, though.
Okay, so...
Do you think it would be easier if we were able to just, like, streamline the process in a certain way to where people... Because, we talked about the situation that people are coming from. They don't have a lot of... Like, for all we know, they don't... For all we know, they're wondering when's their next meal going to be. Can they survive, like, out here with people that...
Right,
like,
who's going to come get them tomorrow
Exactly.
night?
So, do you think it would be easier if we could streamline it to a way to where it's more reasonable? And I understand it's hard because it's you're literally changing your citizenship, your allegiance, and all that in, like, one fell swoop. But...
I love that. It's like you change sides. Like, well, how would you streamline the process to piggyback off of that?
You see, to me, first part, to me, the wall is a horrible solution. Not just like, sure, let's build a huge wall because we obviously know that they would never get over it, under it, through it, around it. But even besides,
no, they could get under it. Have you seen some of the whole film? Have you seen, bro, El Chapo? Have you seen it?
They built them a railway out of that bitch.
I'm like, dude, it's like the catacombs under the Pope's palace with all those dead bodies. It's just lying.
That dude, when I saw that freaking documentary, I was like,
that's in France.
No.
It is.
The catacombs.
The catacombs are in France.
No. Have you seen the one under the Pope's, like the Vatican?
That's the secret library.
No. There's something under the Vatican.
But
just found.
It's not the catacombs.
It's not the catacombs.
I don't know what I said. Alright, cut me some slack.
Okay.
I have a very limited vernacular. I was homeschooled, son. Cut me some slack, alright?
So I feel like building the wall is just like an economic issue and even a like environment issue because all the crap they were gonna have to destroy, all the environment, all the nature, the seas they were gonna have to affect because he wants to build it like until the sea, until the oceans. So I feel like that's just like really bad economics part of him.
Yeah.
Even though
not to mention he's had trouble raising the money since he got it now, obviously.
Yeah.
But he's had trouble raising the money since
it's taken him his entire campaign. Even before his campaign, he talked about it, and now he's a year away from having to go through re-election.
Not to mention, how long is that wall gonna take to build?
Years.
Like.
Right, watch an executive order happen. Like, he misses this election. He loses it. Okay? The workers get down there. They get, like, 3 feet of wall done. And then executive order comes down and they're like, no more. You're done. And, like, we just have this beautiful black obsidian wall, 3 feet just in the middle, like, walk around it. That's the only thing they do. They're like guys when they walk through the door, they slap the top of the door frame. They just slap the wall as they walk around.
Now, streamlining the process behind it is very difficult.
I can understand.
That's why I can't honestly like answer you that because I don't know what it would be.
Like, yeah, I understand. But do you feel like if there were a way to, like, obviously we're not all of us are not fully educated in how you would do that because, like you literally said, it's a whole 3-year it's a 2 to 3 year process, and it could be longer depending on what country you're coming from.
Yeah.
But I feel like if there was a way for that to work to where people could, I don't know, get out of their countries in a reasonable time. But I mean, now that I think about it, it'd be hard. That like reasonable time for them. They're literally working on a clock that's like completely different than ours. So.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that people don't. I feel like people just don't understand that.
Even the people that say like, yeah, then why does the U.S. not help like the country be fixed? Like, they're trying, but they're not the ones that should be doing it.
Well, I mean,
the U.S. is a powerful country, and it's technically the most powerful country in the West Coast, but like it's not the U.S. responsibility to be like, oh yeah, let's go help them because they're going through some stuff. Now let's go help them because they're going through some stuff. Now let's go help them and them and them. And
I feel like what is it? Is it NATO, the North American trade thing that's still going on?
NATO.
Yeah, I feel like we do. I feel like when people think of I feel like we do still have somewhat of an obligation to help Mexico.
Mm-hmm. No.
But at the same time, like I understand what you're saying. Like
you see the U.S. mostly of the trade does with Canada and Mexico. Mm-hmm. So I feel like yes, because you are technically the 3 most powerful countries in the West Coast, you have an obligation to unite with each other.
Yeah.
Now playing a role in every single country's
of course
situation, even some in the East Coast, I feel like that's where people push it a little too far. Because yes, they're still at war. They're still trying to fight ISIS, and they're still trying to fight a bunch of terrorists in the East Coast. But still, if they do that, they can also help each and every single country in
at the same time, though, it's just weird because I feel like people, and not just people, but also the U.S. government in a way, kind of like I feel like we nitpick in like the countries that we help and like that we don't. And I understand, like obviously, like not everybody is our, I guess, quote unquote ally at this point in time, but still, it's like, you know.
I was listening to Dan Crenshaw, who's a representative from Texas. He's a former Navy SEAL. He's the guy who you probably saw on SNL who's missing his eye with the eye patch that Pete Davidson made fun of, and then he came back on the show and got back at him. And he was responding to Tulsi Gabbard, who is, I think she still is, running for president on the Democratic ballot. And she was saying, I don't think we should have troops over in Afghanistan, Iraq, all these different places. She's saying, I don't think we should have them over there.
Okay.
And the response, at least from what I gathered him saying, was, you don't understand. We're not fighting conventional war where people wear uniforms and all that.
Yeah.
He's like, you need to have a force over there. That way, every time a threat arises, you're able to quash it before it reaches our shore. Because it's not like the threat's on our own shore. It's like it's men and women who look like us, who all they have to do is step in a truck and run over 20 people like Paris, right? Or pick up a knife and stab 7 people, right? Or show up in the United States, hop on a plane, and fly it into 2 towers and kill over 2,000 people, right? So we're not fighting a conventional war. So when it comes to helping other countries, there's a level of, should we be in that country? Well, I don't know. What's the threat to us? We have some of the greatest assets in the 21st century. You're able to text somebody in a completely different country and FaceTime them, right? We have in the United States, we have the ability that everyone can have food, water, and shelter, and healthcare. We're capable of that in the 21st century. We are, right?
We are.
We are, as a nation. We don't always grant that to everyone, which I think is something that should be afforded to everyone. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, right? So we should push other nations to reach that itself. We've all heard the adage, give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, right?
Feed him for
a lifetime. So if there are ways for us to help other countries institute those policies, I feel like that should be the goal, rather than us jumping up in our big red cape, Star Spangly outfit, to quote Avengers, run over there, fix that problem, and then leave. Right? We should equip them with the tools, and I don't mean weaponry. Equip them with the tools to succeed, but you can only do that so many times before you have to be like, all right, you gotta sort this shit out yourself.
That's fair. At the same time, though, I just feel like each country is like, that's so nuanced to the point where each country has a completely different problem.
Absolutely.
Like,
and I feel like you also run into the issue like, when you cross that line, is that the same line with every country? With every aspect, or no?
Because we talked about the Middle East. Their biggest problem was it was like
they're always feuding with each other,
terrorist groups, and all that. But if we were to go to let's say, a country in Africa, like an African coast country where they're dealing with poverty, not necessarily warfare.
Well, they got a ton of poverty and warlords there as well.
It depends on the country.
Agreed.
I was trying to think of what's the country? What's an example?
You could pick South
Africa. Yeah.
The apartheid's over, but there's still some segregation there.
Or Rwanda, where there was literally the massacre happened in the 90s.
Yeah.
And then even though now they are a democracy right now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but there's still tensions, right? There's still tensions in there from the beginning. And I read a book on that too. Left to Tell was really amazing. It chronicles this girl who was in Rwanda and was hunted by people who literally were her neighbors at one time, and because of staunch nationalism and racism, they went after her, and so
I feel like finding that line in between each country is something that's hard.
Yeah,
this is why you should never go into politics.
I mean, I agree, and I can only vocalize what I know, and there's some countries the Middle East has been feuding since the dawn of time. If you go look at biblical records, or if you look at the history of Mesopotamia, or you read Herodotus, one of the greatest Greek historians of all time, you'll see records of the Persians, right, and the Assyrians, and all these different people feuding, and warlords would overthrow each other. And so I don't know. I don't want to sound like I'm stereotyping an entire region.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's ever going to change, because there's so many with the Taliban warlords in Afghanistan. There's like 100 of them, and each one has their own allegiance and rules. I don't know that that kind of system is ever going to be united under one warlord, and that might be okay, and we might need to accept that, because it's a Western ideology to be united under one president, right? All people are created equal, right? And we all have the same vote. That's something completely different.
See, if I feel like if ever like a warlord ever actually thought about taking over an entire region, I feel like Kim would just be like, man, fuck this. I tried so hard for so many years, and this guy's just gonna come in like,
I give up.
I give up. I'm done with this.
Take it, man. Just take it.
I tried dictatorship for so long and it didn't work.
But then that becomes like a whole...
like, launch the missiles! I'm done!
But then it gets into the point where it's like a whole feudal thing, like where like, oh, now your son or your right-hand man is gonna come up and then like take over, and he's like, I got the stamina to last forever, I'll still fight. It's like, and then it becomes a thing where it's like, basically Europe, but like over one country, like you know, where you have different kingdoms, or in this case, warlords just fighting over territory.
Yeah, so it's a very...
It worked in the Dark Ages. Half of everybody died from rats. I mean, like, it's the way to go, man. Do that.
But modern medicine is so like, well, they don't have that benefit. Yeah. Actually, now I take it back. But
I feel like
they don't have, but at the same time, like, what's what I'm looking for? Do they have? I don't think there has been like a major outbreak. Like Ebola was the closest thing to like a major.
There wasn't even a major outbreak. It was just a bunch of celebrities being like, "Oh my God, help people! Don't go to the airport if you're sick."
Yeah,
like,
that was the closest thing we've had to a major outbreak since literally like the Black Plague.
Yeah.
That
so I think it's a very gray area. But I feel like there's some parts that we have to come in agreement, like, yes, we're gonna do this, we're gonna not do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna not do this.
Yeah.
We can't just be like, we're gonna half-ass all of it and just pretend like life is fine.
I feel like that's what happens. Sometimes with people screaming on both sides.
Yeah.
To the nearest extreme, to the point where compromise is something that either one you don't do or you do half-assedly.
Yeah.
Well, like you and I were talking, I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Ineffective.
2 weeks ago, and we were talking about gun control. And like we are still on opposite ends of the spectrum, not far off, but I can agree with a lot of his points.
And I can agree with a lot of his points.
And I think distinctly, you were like, hey, why do people need M16s? Why do people need M4s? AK-47s? That's a weapon designed for a battlefield, you know? And he's like, and so I say like, oh, well, you know, kids shouldn't have access to that, right? They shouldn't be able to reach it. And he goes, how are you going to stop them? You're going to go into every home and make sure that kids can't go into their dad's gun safe to get an M4? He's like, you can't do that. And I was like, oh, damn. Like, I didn't think about that. And I get it. You know, we have a mental illness problem, because if you look at most of the shooters today, they are either on some sort of opioid or psychoactive drug, right, that's prescribed, and they're using it too much, or they're mentally ill. And so they shouldn't have access to guns. But what are we going to do? Go into every home and go, well, you can't have a gun because your son is unstable. Well, no. But I understand what he's saying, where he's like, that's not fair to the rest of us, that they have the ability to reach out and grab that gun. And you referenced, was it New Zealand or Australia?
Australia that has a no gun policy.
They completely
no guns in the entire country.
So, right, but here's the thing. So Dan Crenshaw was.
But at the same time, they never had like a mass shooting, right?
They did before.
But after that policy was like.
After that policy, no.
Exactly.
So you got that, but then you also reference. Dan Crenshaw said there's a certain statistic about it. We talked about it. Where it's like more acts of violence are committed with blunt objects like hammers and clubs than there are deaths by gun.
In Australia, yeah.
No, in the United States.
Really? Okay.
I don't know the exact statistic, but it was like, because that's more readily available. Like you can get a gun.
Like my friend I think it was back in 2017 or something. He said like the amount of people that actually like looked at it as total it was like total numbers. So like gun related deaths in the United States was only at about like 9,000, and it's sad that 9,000 people died. But
absolutely,
overall, that's like, what is it, 0.001% of the population.
Mm-hmm.
When you actually look at it in totality.
Yeah.
But also that's the thing, people don't. It's hard to look at it in totality because you brought these, like, y'all both brought it to the personal aspect of, like, we're saying since your kid has a mental illness, you cannot have a gun on a personal level, but at the same time,
that's infringing upon someone's right.
And on the personal level. But when you look at it from totality, it's easy to say, oh yeah, we'll stop mass shootings will stop if we just take away all guns or something like that.
It's like no, because then Paris happened where they ran over 20 people with a truck, and it's like how many deaths resulted from cars?
Or even when people the thing I hear a lot of people talk about isn't like I hear like growing up in my life, like I grew up. It wasn't a bad place. It wasn't gangland. Let me just say that.
I would love for you to change your words, but like, yo, I grew up.
It was not gangland.
South side of
Brooklyn. Look, it was not gangland, but there was gun.
Gun violence every day.
But look, it was
it's
not
like I was the one pulling the trigger.
It wasn't that. But like,
figure out what rhymes with trigger.
But like, I can guarantee you, every week on the news there was a gun related. Every week, 2 weeks on the news there was like a gun related accident. Or like gang fights or something like that you could hear about. And I hear a lot of people say like, oh well, we could stop gang war by taking away guns or something like that, and that would also help with mass shootings, Mass Effect. But to that also, when you look at someplace like I think like London in the UK, where they still have gangs and like knife wars are a problem. There.
See, just shoot me, man. Don't stab me. I would rather.
It's savage. It's
Please.
savage what they're doing.
I'll take a 7.62 round to the head any day over somebody walking up and be like, tickle, 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 with like a 7-inch blade. I'm good.
Jack the Ripper, you.
Right.
Jack the Ripper.
Like, just somebody walk up and be like, I'm gonna unzip you with a knife. Like, I'm good, man. That's
just shoot me.
Your Freddy Krueger ass fingers stay over there.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I'm not gonna make that joke. I'm not gonna.
Well, be careful. Are you talking about my circumcision? What are you talking about?
What?
I've told the joke about my circumcision looking like Freddy Krueger's face.
No, it was 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah, dude, that scene at the end of season 2.
Yeah, my friend and I literally said, like, if somebody told me either I'm gonna shoot you or I'm gonna do that to you, I said, no, you can put that mop down. You better pick up that Glock 6. Like.
You better pull that trigger. I'll give you the bullet right now.
Bro, I will put it in. Dude, give it to me. I'll pull the trigger for you. Come on.
Dude, so when I watched that, because it was a cultural phenomenon, I watched the first season, I was like, damn, this is brutal. Like this, and because I didn't grow up in a high school, I grew up homeschooled, playing on sports teams, I understood the relationship between, teenagers, but I didn't understand it was like that bad because I'm with them all day. So then, I watched the first season, I'm like, oh my god, that's horrible. Then, right, go watch the second season. First of all, I was very disappointed at who Clay ended up with. I was like, you had to pick like the emo from My Chemical Romance. Like, come on, seriously?
I mean, he ends up with somebody completely different the third season now. So.
Don't tell me.
Are you actually going to watch it?
No, I'm not, but don't tell me. Don't do it. Somebody ruined the Game of Thrones season ending to me. Somebody was like, because they were talking about Game of Thrones, and they're like, dude, I can't believe he stabs her to death. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, Jon stabs Dany. I just started season 8, right? And this was like the last season aired the night before.
I've only been on season.
I was like,
2. Because I never watched Game of Thrones. Because I never watched Game of Thrones.
I was just like, oh, so mad.
The thing is, I'll still watch. The thing about spoilers is, I'll still watch it after I hear spoilers.
But hold on, here's what happened.
You're gonna watch it anyway. I don't really care.
So I start season 2. I watch the first 2 episodes. Get bored. Jump to the last episode. Okay, when I tell you I was having PTSD watching this thing, I was like, oh no, oh dear Jesus, no! And I'm watching him pick up the mop handle, and I'm like, don't do it. And then it cuts to the feet under the stall, and I was like, ah! And just like, skip. Come out, and he goes to shoot up the school, and I'm like, man, I don't agree with shooting up a school. I don't. Okay? But if you stuck a mop handle up my asshole, I'm telling you, I'm doing something.
You don't know. Like that's the thing. I'll never say what I won't do. because
no, I'll say I wouldn't shoot up the school.
I'm just
but
saying,
I'm gonna wait till you come out.
I'd like to believe.
And I'm just gonna roll up with my Maserati or Bugatti because obviously I roll with that and just hit him.
I mean, I'm not gonna say what I won't do because when you're human and like it's easy for me to say like how can you kill another person, but like when something like that happens to you, when something like that has
killed other people. Let's be honest.
When something like that has happened to you and you're under the emotional stress of not only that, but he had been bullied by the same people for ages and tormented, and like that wasn't the first time that they physically like hurt him.
Yeah.
I could understand like where your emotions would be so riding high to the point where you'd be like.
That was the most relatable show I've ever seen in a while.
Are you serious?
Louis is like, I'm Bryce.
Oh no, it was for real. It was.
Oh, that was the actual statement. You were serious?
Yeah. I related that shit so hard.
I was just asking.
Dude, I watched Queer Eye and feel the exact same way. No, dude, I'll say this. Again, I will say what I won't do because I know for a fact that I would never shoot up innocent people, right? But I can let's put it this way. I can understand how his emotional state got to that point. I don't understand his actions after that. That's what I can say. So
I got you. I mean, I think you'd have to literally be in that situation to fully understand.
Yeah.
Like he was legitimately raped by a freaking with a broomstick.
You think how many janitors just with their nasty ass old hands?
Bro, do you know what kind of diseases you can get from that shit?
I know, right?
Like,
how do you want? They're like so.
Not only that.
Hold on. Just imagine this. You start pulling it out.
No! Oh God!
And like the wood chips on the side of the broom.
Oh no! Splinters!
Oh God!
Oh
you get a splinter.
Like you see what I mean? Like all the possibility of stuff that could have happened. It's just like Tupac could say, "I'm not a killer, but don't push me." Because you never know what you're gonna do.
Here's what I would say.
I like to believe I wouldn't want to hurt somebody after that happened to me, but I would never know. Like if my life's like, even in that case, like you don't know if you would kill somebody. I don't know if I would kill somebody or not. But if somebody literally raped me, abused me verbally and physically, treated me like I was shit for that since the beginning of high school. They were in like sophomore year, like since the beginning of high school all the way down to that moment. Not only that, but he didn't have many friends. At the time, he didn't have many friends to rely on. Nobody seemed like they really cared about him.
Yeah. And
the friends that he did have for a small amount of time literally turned their back on him because they thought he was crazy. Like,
why are you describing my high school right now?
God damn it, Carl! So I was gonna say, like, imagine he goes to the doctor and the doctor's like, Mr. Whatever, you I don't remember his name. I hate to tell you this, you have AIDS. And then he's like, son, have you been sleeping around? And imagine having to tell him like, no, but there's this mop handle though. Like, dude, there's no way.
If that had happened, how do you still not understand how somebody could come to that realization?
You see, I feel like I agree with Carl. You have to be in like
that. You have to
emotional.
I've never been in his shoes.
You have to be
in that emotional, mentally and physically mindset to fully
say like I would
fuck at everything. I just want to have revenge.
Yeah, I can understand.
It's not only that, but it's the only way it's gonna stop. Because people in that idea, like even if they don't want revenge, they think they will bully me and beat me up for the rest of like my high school, Not to mention like your brain's so, like it's right. People like your brain's still underdeveloped to the point where like you don't see an end to that.
I agree.
Yeah,
that's
like some people would it's not a good way to rationalize it, but they would rationalize it as like even. This is the only way I can get it to stop.
Yeah.
And like, or they do the inverse of I guess the same coin, which is like suicide.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now that we're on this dark and drastic topic, let's change the subject.
Yeah, we're past 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know. Let's change the subject, since we've now gone over gun control, immigration, and Luis's childhood.
Yes.
Luis is like preaching, sister, preaching. Dude, so I gotta say this. So Nick and I are in the gym yesterday, or not yesterday, Monday.
Now we're gonna talk about gay.
No, Nick is not my partner. He's my little brother. So.
Okay, incest.
Yeah, it's Alabama, brother. It's just, oh god.
We are in Louisiana. Yeah. We are the second worst in that. We're not.
Are we really?
I'm pretty sure.
No,
dude.
I think we're third. I think it's Alabama, Mississippi, and us.
West Virginia. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Hold on. Country hoes.
All I'm saying is, I guarantee you, people in like New York, California, and like big city states are definitely making fun of us saying like incest.
Oh yeah.
I remember like what was the Netflix show On My Block? It was like, oh yeah, dude made I think it was an incest joke or something. He's like, well, some families are close. Yeah, those families are from Louisiana. I'm
right.
Like, fuck you.
Dude, I mean, just you think about it from the whole time. Let me clarify. I'm not justifying incest by any stretch of the imagination. All right, but I'm gonna say back in the old days, probably, if you're a horny 16, 17-year-old boy, and you're just like 18 kids and counting. Like we all know what happened with that. Alright, and you're just, like you just got this raging baby arm in your pants that you can't control, alright?
And then your sister...
And hold on. No. I'm not setting up a
I'm about to say.
And there's nobody for miles. You don't think the twisted male mind goes places it shouldn't?
Oh, of course.
It does, okay? So... Remember, don't justify it till you walk in his shoes, Carl. So when you walk in his shoes, Carl, when you go home, and I'm going to stop right there.
You're going to stop.
See, Luis doesn't have that problem, okay? Luis just walks down the street in his affluent neighborhood with his white neighbors with their Ferraris.
See the picture I just found.
And their Bugattis that broke the speed.
Like, we're talking about incest, and you just said you found a picture, and I'm going, what?
So it's the rate of incest in states.
Oh my gosh.
Where are we?
They actually tracked the statistics?
Top ones from 90, I'm going to assume it's from like 90 to 100%.
Okay.
It's Alaska.
Wait, Alaska's number one.
Dude, it's just dark outside there all the time. You don't know who you're fucking.
No. So the darker ones.
I'm just saying.
The darker ones. The darker ones. So it goes from like, if you're higher, you're a darker state, and if you're lighter, you're.
Why do you have to bring race into this?
Shut up. Alabama's not even on the list. Way too high. It's
way too high.
Alaska, Kentucky.
I can see that.
West Virginia.
They make good bourbon. That makes sense.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
And then the one above.
You don't know all the states, and you're a citizen here.
No, I don't.
God,
that was not part of the That was not part of the test.
Yeah, the incest map was not part of the test.
That one? That's Kansas.
Yeah. Okay, Kansas, Arkansas, Kentucky, Wyoming, and Alaska are the highest ones.
You're not wrong.
Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, and Washington are some of the third highest.
I love how all the coast states like New Jersey and all of them have 0 or none. It's like, really?
Dude, it's just I can't. There's certain things I'm like, okay, I can understand how you would get there. I
mean, yeah.
You see that? I can see Alaska. You don't have that many people.
No.
Fuck it.
No. That's a no. That's a definite. I would rather. Okay, let me just explain something to you before I start this bit.
Lord.
Okay, let me say something. Luis looks like the bear from The Revenant that eats Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay, I would rather have sex with that bear than have sex with anyone in my family. All right, I'm being honest. I don't care. Just no, zero, zilch. No, don't care. Okay. Not particularly Luis. I can understand being a drug addict. I can understand being a drunk. I can understand any amount of sexual deviation. Like, okay, I can get there. But not incest. And not living in Alaska. That's weird, too. You want to live up where it's dark 20 hours a day? No. I don't care.
All right. So I'll put this to you.
Go ahead.
Your parents got divorced when you were young. Your mom or dad married someone else.
Okay.
They have a daughter. You have
now. This sounds like the movies I used to like before I decided to take a sabbatical from porn.
So you're technically they are technically your stepsister.
That's not incest anymore. That's just called good manners.
But you have grown up with them your entire life.
So
since you were young.
I grew up with a dog, and that doesn't mean I can't do that to that. What?
That's what?
What? Sorry, wrong context. Sorry. Alright, we're back to stepsisters. Here we go.
Y'all should have just seen my face when Jake said dog. I swear to God.
Yeah, you know, dogs, D-A-W-G, like my home.
Stop,
like
stop.
my G is
Okay. Go, Luis. Get back here for a second. Just go back.
Here's the thing. Like, okay, I want to also state I don't agree with incest in any way, but like,
I'm glad we've all started every sentence about this. Like,
situation.
I'm not condoning this, but
here's the thing: the situation that would lead you to there, I could kind of see it somehow.
we've all seen it. Anybody who's turned on private browsing data has seen that situation happen.
Not like that.
Let's be honest.
I mean, like, okay. Here's the thing.
You're telling me you haven't opened up the
this.
old private browsing data,
this.
you clicked on the tab, and it just says stepsister, and you're like, well, I'm here. Like, I might as well.
So let's go with this. You grow up with your
I am a very messed up
individual.
You grow up with your sister your entire life.
Alright, she related to me.
Yes. She is.
Notice that people are going to listen to this, and they're going to be very concerned about you.
She is blood with you. But you end up having a stronger love for her more than a sibling. What do you do with it?
I'll tell you what you do. Alright, here's what you do. You go outside.
Kids, cover your
Hold on. You go outside.
Adults, cover your
You
ears.
look to the sky.
Everyone hearing this, cover your ears.
You grab a fistful of that sack and you cut it off. And you're done.
You cut your
You cut the sack off.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Cut the sack off. You never want to sleep with her. Just, you're good.
How did it go?
You know those paddles that have the balls
from, like,
attached with strings?
true love to cutting your dick off?
No, do you know the games like as kids used to have with the paddle and it was the ball attached?
What?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the ball and paddle.
Yeah,
Okay.
you take those, you make
You
paddles,
just said-
you make a little
do you
money
mean
out of
the
it.
kids that we just been talking about?
Ding, 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 ding. You just make a game out of it. Make some money off of it.
Okay, can we switch gears?
Can
to
we
something
switch?
else?
Yeah.
Alright, so
something.
we're done talking about incest, ladies and gentlemen. We've discussed Carl's growing up a little too much now. We've talked about Luis's, we've not talked about Carl's.
And guns and immigration has been Drake.
No, I was actually quiet most of that.
It's okay, guys. Drake,
So, hold on.
Jake grew up on a commune.
What?
Housefield, right?
Well, yep, you know what? It's totally like Waco, Texas. This is great.
Wait. So wouldn't you be like the incest?
Exactly.
Dude, I had a bit that I did
Like
on
every
stage.
student has a teacher
It
that
made
they
people
would
so
have
uncomfortable.
had sex with immediately.
Right, hold on. So that was the bit that I had on stage. Made people so uncomfortable. So I do it, and I go, I get tired of when all my buddies say, dude, I had this teacher I totally would have, like, just smashed, man, yo. Pal, you don't have anybody like that? And I was like, well, I had my mom, but I mean, like, and I'd say that, and I did that in my theater class, because they're like, do a 5-minute stand-up bit. So I did that, and I said, I had my mom. I was like, but my dad was doing that anyway. And just the theater teacher went, Mr. Pell, I'm going to have to ask you to stay away from jokes like that. And I was like, damn it, I'm sorry. And she came to me afterwards, and she's like, you think you're funny. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay. Yeah. Everything else was good. She's like, but the moment you started talking about sleeping with your mother, and I was like, hold on, I said nothing about sleeping with my mother. Blonde lady, kind of up to here, like hair up to here. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Glasses. Absolute one of the greatest professors out there. I love her to death. She is a professor that I would not sleep with. Just saying. I wanted to lead up to that a little bit. Let's talk.
Oh, she doesn't listen to this.
I really hope so. I don't even remember your name, ma'am, but if you're ever single, press it out.
Back up.
Press it out.
Back up.
Alright, Luis, any TV shows you really like you've been watching recently?
I don't watch
Other than 13 Reasons Why.
I don't watch TV.
You watch movies.
Netflix. Hulu.
I have a boring life.
That's not true.
How'd you watch
There's just things we can't talk about on
How'd you
here.
watch 13 Reasons Why then?
Online.
Oh.
Alright, so he illegally streamed it. Anyway. I mean, just like he illegally came across the border, he illegally streamed it. Same way.
That's gonna be cut from the record.
No, it's not.
I'm not snitching. That's gonna be cut from the record.
Stitches, bitches!
Thank you, Carl.
Don't dab him off for that.
Thank you, Carl.
Dude, I had no idea. Like, the first time I learned about dabbing, I was like 15, 16. Alright, hold on. This is... And no, not that. Like dabbing people off.
Dab. It's dab.
It's dab.
Did I say dab?
Yes.
Oh no. Okay. So the first time I learned about
Jake is white, just
off.
to let you guys know.
Yeah, I'm very. Everyone else in this room isn't, except for the walls. So good to know, folks.
Yes, and
so. Alright, so about dabbing people off. Did I say the B again?
Yes.
Okay, dabbing! Goddamn. So, this guy goes to do it, and I just hug him. And he was like, yo, bro, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, I thought we were going in for the hug, bro. And he's like, I don't know you like that, man. Back up. And I was like, oh, shit, sorry. So, since then, I've always been very careful. I'm like, what are we doing? And it always gets so awkward, man. It just does. I'm sorry, but... Like, it's as awkward as the silence right now.
Hold up, y'all. I'm about to teach a white person how to dab.
Alright, let me see.
Ready?
Exactly. Just like that.
Not that hard.
Smooth
It's not that hard.
to the touch.
Have you guys ever... this video killed me. It was this reporter talking to this...
You're alive, you're good. Right.
It was this... it was this reporter talking to this African-American guy. And I don't know where the guy is just like, all right, yeah. He was about to tell the reporter he was leaving. And the reporter was like, they fucking practiced this. Like, he dabbed him so well. He went in for the side one, and then he went in for the handshake.
Oh, no, I thought...
And then he went in with this. And then I'm like, you had to have practiced that.
Unless that is the most
video.
G guy ever. Like, he's the best newscaster. He just does it all right.
Bro,
and he's probably like got like a button down with a tie and everything. Just so professional.
Bro, it was the Bernie video, right?
No, it was.
Oh no, but the Bernie. No, there was a video of Bernie Sanders. And I think it was a dude who was like a supporter.
He dabbed him off, right?
Yeah, like this dude was like his supporter. He was like, and like the supporter is the African American dude. He like. Basically,
can we just go back to saying black? Because it makes me so uncomfortable every time we're like...
Hey, I mean, if you gotta
like
say
Obama,
it...
you're like...
I mean, if y'all gotta say it, I gotta say it.
The gentleman was an African-American.
But basically, he like daps him off.
The N-word or something?
But like, basically, like, he daps him off, and he daps him off, like, it looks like he's been shaking his hand, but then you realize they're, like, dabbing each other off, and they snap, and then he walks past and goes to the next person, just shakes their hand. It was so well planned.
So Key and Peele had that skit, have you seen it?
Which one?
Where they're walking, and it's like, the shorter one, I think it's Jordan Peele, is pretending to be President Obama.
Oh, yeah, the anger translator?
No.
Oh.
So he's pretending to be Obama, and he's walking through and he's shaking people's hands, right? So every time he gets to a white guy, he's like this. How you doing?
Oh, yeah!
And then, every time he gets to a black guy, he's like, what's up, homie? And does like that.
He's like, what's up, my brother? This, that, and the other.
And he's like, oh, bring it in.
And like his voice changes and all that.
I watched that, and I was like, oh no, that's why black people don't
isn't that an actual
here's
video from Obama though?
I have no idea.
Because I feel like I've seen like it's a video of Obama like shaking all of his like staff, and to the white guy he's like coming in, he's like walking in, and he's like when he's talking to his chef, he like comes in just like elbow to
like cause y'all don't understand. Here's the thing, that is an actual. I think it's just a cultural thing, but like that is like an actual thing, like. The dap between like black people. Also, like when we see, even if we don't know each other, we see each other. We see another black person on the street. We just be like, the head nod.
I see you do that all the time here.
Huh?
I see you do that all the time when I'm walking around here.
Yeah.
Like,
if I know you, if I know you, I'll do it. If I don't know you and you're black, I will probably still do it.
And if you're white like me and they call you the N-word, let me tell you the pride. I have never felt closer to anyone than the first time.
So when Miles said it to you,
no,
you get a
he's
rush.
He's a legal immigrant, so I really don't care when Miles says it.
Damn.
No.
I'm
like
striking that.
The first time Miles...
Hang on, just to get this shit straight. My homie is not an illegal immigrant. Just saying.
So the first time Miles said it to me, let me find out where this is. I was like, I'm mildly uncomfortable with this. The white man in me is completely uncomfortable with being called this word. I'm going to have to apologize on behalf of all white people that we invented that word. And like that's how I felt. I'm serious. So I'm just like, oh no. I wanted to tell him like my family never owned slaves. Like that's the first thing I wanted to come out of my mouth. I was like, we're all immigrants. We're just like you. And then I realized if you say that, it's 10 times worse.
White guilt is so awesomely hilarious.
Right. So like that's what wanted to come out of me. And so then I was like, and then I watched, and it's like, if you're cool, there's a difference when they're like, what's up, ma? and they say it, because we all know I'm not saying this, especially on a podcast, but when they say they're like, and then I watch it, and when you're tight with somebody, and they bring in their hug, and what's something, and they say it differently. It's said differently, and I don't know why.
Yeah, it goes from an A to an ER.
No. No. No, that's if you have a rebel flag on your
I'm not gonna say it on the spot.
Yeah.
I'm trying really hard not to say it.
Yeah, we'll just have an episode where that's all Carl says on the podcast. He just starts.
Just so you don't have to decipher it.
Yeah.
Just for the record, Jake says it all the time.
I'll speak in Ebonics.
Oh, you know what?
I'll speak in Ebonics, and y'all have to freaking.
I will say this.
Decipher
One
it.
time I misspelled Nigeria, and it looked really bad. That's all. That's the closest I've ever been to saying that word.
His teacher, Jake, can you explain what to me? No.
What?
It's geography class, and I'm like, my favorite country.
Jake, can you label these countries right quick in Eastern Eastern Africa? Yeah, sure.
I was writing, I'm like, this is where all black people came from. They're like,
he's presenting a PowerPoint and he misspells it on the PowerPoint.
That would be the one.
This is blank.
It's like one, and the one dude's like, bruh, please tell me you did. Please tell me you had spell check. And the man's like, I was so confident I was gonna spell them right, I didn't. Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
You just see D in the back of the class, like, just cracking his knuckles, like, we're gonna talk, Jake. I'm like, oh shit, D, I'm sorry.
Miles is like, you bastard.
You bastard.
Bastard.
Dude.
Kevin's like, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, Kevin last night in the meeting was so like, man, I don't even know what to say. Like, every time somebody said something, he had a comeback that he wanted to do, didn't say it. So, alright. Anything else we want to talk about? Because you don't watch TV shows. He and I both watch TV shows. I really love The Boys. Watch that. Finished Carnival Row. Was terrible. I'm on House of Cards and Strike Back.
What's the last movie both of you saw?
Oh, the last movie?
In theaters or It Chapter 2.
I never got to see it.
I spent the entire movie in the fetal position.
What was the last one?
It was that bad. And I'm not clowning around, no pun intended. Oh.
I think the last one I saw was Spider-Man Far From Home. It's been a minute.
I haven't seen that one yet. Anyway.
I don't even think it's in
I'll
theaters
say this.
anymore. So.
We'll talk current events. And wrap it up. So, when we were talking about India earlier, okay, this is how bad my mind is. You're like, India has this waiting list since 1996. And in my head I went, you know what I bet India's favorite song is? I bet it's Curry on My Wayward Son. Alright, that was bad. Anyway, and on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to have Luis Depaz in the studio. Carl, where can people find you on social media? Carl doesn't have social media. Ladies and gentlemen, Luis, where can we find you on social media?
My name, just Luis _. No, Luis.Depaz_. That's it.
Yeah, like you're about to deposit in the bank. No,
I'm
just kidding. It's an AZ.
I was actually trying to think because I haven't been on Instagram.
Carl's Instagram is as bland
Instagram.
as Church's chicken. All right, I don't know why that was said, but it's true.
Church's Chicken. No offense to you, we would like a sponsor actually.
No, Popeyes.
You still fuck with Church's Chicken?
Huh?
You still fuck with Church's Chicken?
I mean,
That was the most gangster thing you've ever said.
I mean, if somebody brings it to me, I'm gonna eat it.
It's been a while since I fucked with it. Like,
you're not wrong. It's been a while since I fucked with it too. You're not wrong, but yeah. But I guess where can we find you on social media, Jake?
At FForce101, it's Jake Pell. If you're looking for a bunch of pale, shirtless pictures of a white guy trying to work out, that's the place to go. If you're looking for pure sexiness, you can find Carl on blacked.com.
Damn lie.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen.
You can find Carl at CAD_III.
I. And that stands for Office of Internal Affairs. I don't know. No, I'm sorry. You can find
What does affairs start with?
I'm sorry.
Hold up, dumbass. What does affairs start with?
You can find Carl at .com. All you have to type in is ISIS. It's called ISIS. Carl works for them. Anyway,
done here.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be in Pensacola this weekend competing at Beach Brawl. This episode is out before that because it's going to be the 20th and the 21st. Come see me. If not,
you can come join me in Area 51.
Yes.
Storming it.
Yes. Our man Luis Depaz is gonna be covering that for us. If he doesn't make it back,
we'll have it set up like a news thing. We'll have it set up like a news broadcast with all.
If you find some thick aliens, let me just tell you, you bring me back. I want to beat some extraterrestrial cheeks.
Oh, and if you get shot, and if you get shot,
that's not a sin.
And if you get shot, just let me know. I'll take the bullet out and I just want to analyze it.
Yeah, perfect. Send your body back. Alright, Carl will be releasing an EP, I believe, in November. I may or may not be on that. At the latest. Some great music. We're looking forward to getting that out to you guys at some point soon. We both have some open mics coming up within the next month. We're going to put out details about that soon. As for my own music, at this point, I've got a better chance sleeping with the Pope than putting anything out in the next year. Not saying it's impossible, because he does like small white guys. So, that being said, if this offends the Catholic Church, I'd like to point out Jesus did say love the little children. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Sponsored. This week I'm brought to you by Orgain Protein Powder. I've been using this for the past 5 years. If you're looking for 21 grams of protein with 150 calories, you want to be fueled up with a plant-based, non-GMO, no hormones protein, this is the way to go. I use this with a pretty rigorous workout schedule. It keeps me fueled at school, podcasting, doing stand-up, playing music, working out, you name it. This keeps me on the go. Carl is brought to you by pure testosterone that comes out of his sack. And Luis is brought to you by all the beard oils that he uses. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Uncouth. Hasta la vista, baby.